So I am so happy to introduce the panel tonight. The women who are going to speak here are really national treasures, trailblazers, as our friend Maria Shriver, an alum of She Shares says, architects of political change. When they started in politics in the Jesse Jackson campaign in 1984, and maybe some of them before, I was a skinny white girl working in the Iowa caucuses with Walter Mondale. And we crossed paths with each other as we crisscrossed the nation during that early presidential cycle and for 8 cycles following that. I've looked up to these women all my life. I've never forgot a meeting I had with Donna Brazile in the Dukakis campaign. We were in Boston, meeting with a white Irish campaign manager, Jack Corrigan, and we were talking about how Michael Dukakis, whose name, by the way, sounds like a step throat virus, how we were going to organize a campaign in the South. And I'm not talking about the South of Boston, I'm talking about the South of the United States of America. And finally, after a little while, Donna Brazile had had kind of enough of their plans, and she said, hey, listen, don't tell me how to run the South. You know a lot about a lot of things, and you don't know about everything. Like, you don't know how I put my tampon in me. And that is part of my territory in the South that you don't know about that I know about. And I knew right about then that Donna Brazile was going to have a major role in many, many campaigns in the United States. Yolanda Caraway and Reverend Leah Daughtry were my bosses in the 2016 National Convention, which was one of the most successful conventions in the history of this country, not without its drama, which I hope you hear about tonight, and which I know is talked about in the book, which you must buy if you were not given tonight. And finally, my sister Minyon. We worked together in the White House. We worked together at the Dewey Square Group for about a decade. She hosted my first baby shower. She gave me cigarettes to smoke in the White House. And even when I didn't think I needed someone to have my back, Minyon had my back. And you know that's a true friend, when someone has your back and you don't even know you need it. Minyon is a generous daughter and a sister and aunt, a mentor and a friend, and one of the people from whom I've learned more about loyalty than anyone else. We're so lucky to have these women here tonight in Sacramento. They've been all over the country. They're going all over the state. They're national icons. And I feel privileged and honored that they're going to be here, that they are here. And to moderate their conversation, the extraordinary Cassandra Pye. Cassandra obviously needs no introduction. She's risen to the top of corporate, government, associations for over 30 years, but most important, I'm in awe that she's raised 4 African American sons who are soaring in the world right now. So to her, congratulations. So, Cassandra, come on up.
Bravo, sister. All right, come on down, women. Come on down. Woo!
Thank you. Hello, Cassandra.
Donna, put the microphone down. I'm the moderator.
Cassandra.
Thank you.
Cassandra.
Jesus.
Cassandra,
We
come
haven't put the microphone down. Put it down.
I thought we had a pre-existing
Put
condition.
the microphone down.
We're supposed to be friends for life. That's a pre-existing condition.
We have the... Okay, so I said this to Minyon. The problem with me and Donna is Donna knew me when I was single, and there's nobody else in this room that can say that, so I have to tread lightly.
Yeah, because that tampon story
That's
was
all
just,
we're gonna say about that.
that was the PG.
Put
Talking about this
God,
sister's
put-
R, because she was,
put
Donna.
put the microphone down. Where is he? Turn her microphone off until I call on her, please.
Sandra will shut her up. Don't
Thank
worry.
you so much, Minyon. So here's the thing. We could spend this hour or so doing any number of things. But we're going to do what Karen asked us to do. And that is we're going to try to leave some time for Q&A because we know you like that. But I also said to Karen, I do want my time. Give me that microphone. But I'm also going to say this. The book is fantastic. If you don't have it or if you haven't purchased it, please do. Because we're not going to spend a ton of time on the biographical piece. Minyon asked us not to, and I do what Minyon asked me to do. We're going to talk about the friendship. We're going to talk about some issues of the day. Buy the book and read the book if you want to know the rest, okay? What I'm going to say in the way of introductions is that Donna is the cook, Yolanda is the entrepreneur, Reverend Leah is the problem solver, and Minyon is the public affairs rock star. So those are my introductions, okay? So Donna was here in February for the Legislative Black Caucus. She was here for Black History Month. I think you remember that. Minyon, you have several colleagues who've said they haven't seen you here in a while, so they are happy to have you back. Yolanda said she has not been here since the 1980s for the DNC. And then Reverend Leah, it's her first visit. So welcome. Welcome. And then welcome to all of you, though who in the world in their right mind would miss this opportunity? So we're going to jump right into it. How many women are here who are part of the Black Women Write Tales group? Any of those women here? I thought so. So I wanted to start with that because it's a group that started here this year. And the founder, Stephanie Bray, a wonderful woman, was shocked at really literally how the group, number one, 60 women showed up at the first session, and she's got a waiting list now. So something's going on about us telling our stories. And I want to start with each of you just to tell me, what do you think it is? What is it about you telling these tales at this time? Why and why now? Let's talk about that. And let's start with you, Reverend.
Okay. Hi, everybody. How y'all doing? So, you know, I think that there's something happening with women, in particular Black women across the country, in any number of fields where women are rising. And I think part of it is that we're starting to see ourselves and see other Black women in spaces, whether you are Ava DuVernay or Serena Williams or, you know, Ann Fudge, or you're seeing what can be possible. And those images inspire us to tell our stories, that we should tell our stories, that no one can tell our stories better than we can. Only we know what we've been through. And to hear, and I think also there's on the flip side of that is the images that have been out there, particularly in recent years, the housewives and the medicine wives and this, that one, and the other one, where we say, I don't know any people like that.
Not one. Not one.
Where are they finding these women? I'm sure they're lovely ladies, but I don't know any of these women, and that's what's out there as a portrayal of who we are. And so some of it is pure aggravation that's the storyline, and we want to tell another story. So we want to put our own real stories out into the world. So you have all these Black women authors, all these folks in Hollywood who are now putting different images of Black women, real images that show our diversity, our talent, our lives in ways that we recognize ourselves. And that just, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. We see it, we do it. We see it, we do it. We see it, we do it.
Well done. Bravo. There you go. Thank you. Anything to add? Why now? Why this story? Why now?
You know, I think for several reasons, but before I do that, I got to do all of my
You got
shout-outs.
shout-outs? Okay,
I
go
got
ahead.
to. My office will never forgive me. First of all, I have my colleagues here from the Dewey Square Group, and Karen used to run that office, so thank you guys for showing up for us. And Stacy, who was my cut buddy at the White House. But I think for African American women in particular, I think the tipping point became the 53% that didn't vote for Hillary. And it's not that it was a mandate that you vote for Hillary, but I think what we saw was so stunning that we could not understand it. And while we have been hidden figures, I guess if that's the word you want to use, we have supported campaigns, we have been in supporting roles, but when we saw that, it was something that, you know, Reverend Jackson used to say, your insult level must match your dignity level. And if it does, you will rise. And so at that particular point, I think black women said, okay, we've been at this for too long. It's time to come out the shadows. Hopefully we can help lead some of the women that might be a little bit conflicted, because none of the women in here are 53%. We know that. So I think that was part of it. And I think the other part of it, too, is that there's a tapestry of stories. And I was saying this to Mona, who is also another colleague. I was saying, and she's got all her proteges. She was taught well. But I was saying to her, there's a gap in our history. And the history especially for African American women, it kind of cuts off at Rosa Parks, Dorothy Height, Reverend Willie Barrow, Dr. Maya Angelou, especially in the political / cultural field. And then there's really, I mean, you have to look hard and long. So we kind of fill that void of history. And I will say this and then shut up. It's not just African American women. I think women in general must understand where we are at this particular time and how we must seize this moment and take this moment and charge, not just sit back and wait for somebody to tell us what to do. We have to charge. Because if I have to see another woman denied anything.
We're going to talk about that in a little bit, too. We're going to get there. Yolanda.
You know, I think black women have been activists since the beginning of time. I mean, through slavery, through everything, we've always been activists. But I think recently, and I think the Jesse Jackson campaign opened up a big thing in '88. But I also think that Hillary in 2016 really unleashed and made women feel confident to get out there and run for office. You know, let's stop being activists. That's great. We need activists, but we also need people to run for office. And we know that the more women we have in office, the better this country is going to be.
You have several books.
You notice what I do every day of my life?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
I write.
I know.
And
I remember.
for
And
me,
you see our LSU alum on there. I see you.
It's been my way of recording history, because history is being made every day. And part of the success, I think, of women today and what we witnessed a few weeks ago in the election is that women have finally figured out that we are the change that we believe in and want to see in the world. And so, Cassandra, you and I go back so long, I won't tell your age. I know how old I am. I'm 29 for the second time, and now I don't know what the hell I'm going to be.
Okay, let's just go ahead and do it now. Donna has a birthday in 2 days.
2 days.
And all I'm going to say is she was born in the same year that I was born in.
That's right.
So
That's
if
right.
you're 29, darling,
Yes.
I'm 29.
Yeah. Well, and that's our
see.
secret, Victoria, because we don't have to take this beyond the room. But so I want to say something from my heart, because I'm sitting in a room with a lot of my peers, people I've grown up with, people who have seen me over the last 30 years. So I can't hide my warts from you all. I mean, when Karen introduced me, I looked at Minyon and I said, God, I haven't changed much, huh? I was born, like many of you, ready. I was born with the knowledge that I could make a difference. You ask yourself, how can a poor girl with nappy hair, dark skin, because I grew up in a time when I had to take the paper bag test. I was always too black, too fat, too nappy, too everything. I was counted out before I was 6, yet I knew that God had a plan for me. And what I've seen this year, and I think what you all witnessed, we witnessed an awakening. Ladies and gentlemen, had you told me, a daughter of a maid, that another child, almost my age, she's much younger, Stacey Abrams, came this close to being the governor of a southern state, so as far as I can say right now, and you know, they're going to always tell me to shut up, but everybody's always telling me to shut up. I keep talking. Or I'll write when I can't talk.
Didn't your mother used to tell you to shut up?
She told me that every day, and look.
Donna,
It didn't hurt to have a contract,
Donna,
a TV
you have
contract.
30 seconds.
I got it. You
Okay.
see, what, and then they want to know if I'm losing my mind, if I can't remember what I'm thinking, because they keep interrupting me. But here's what I want to say. I feel sorry for people who don't understand what is coming. Do you all see what's coming? I feel it in my soul. We have waited a long time to see this moment. What I saw on election night, I never envisioned seeing that. That's why I was trying to be Becky with the good hair.
You're done. Okay, put your microphone down. Donna. Donna.
Okay, because I'm gonna let it all out.
Okay. Oh God. Oh,
We
Lord.
are no longer taking no for an answer.
Donna.
We are no longer asking people permission
Donna.
if we could take our
Donna.
seats. We're going somewhere in the future.
Donna.
I'm finished.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
For now. Yeah. Y'all, look, they remind me of my mama. Shut up, Donna. Shut up, Donna. I'm going to keep talking.
And it doesn't work. And I know some stuff about you, too, from 35 years ago. You keep right on going. Okay. So Politico ran a story this week that you probably saw. They described politics as what they call the hardest glass ceiling for women. And what they were talking about, for those of you who didn't see it, was the fact that unlike these 4 women, very few women have run campaigns. Very few women have had the top spot as strategists. And more importantly, I think in this case, most importantly, they don't get the jobs where they get the benefits and the bonuses, i.e. the mail campaigns, the ad revenue. So I want to know probably, well, let me say this too. So Donna was in it. Mary Beth Cahill was featured. Beth Myers was there, and then Patty Celeste Doyle. But very few additional names. So is the ceiling that hard? Or do you see, to your point, Donna, if a change is coming, is it going to come on the economic side and on the leadership side, or are you really, truly exceptions to the rule?
Well, I won't say we're exceptions to the rule because many of the same exceptions are sitting here. We just happen to have different skin hue. I think we've all kind of come through this. You know, the thing that I think is the challenge for women in politics is we have to believe in ourselves more. Because, you know, there have been many women out here who have chosen the male counterparts. We love Stacey's husband, but he's going to be picked on tonight. But there have been, I mean, so I think part of our challenge is we have to believe that women can do this. I will tell you back, I won't give the year or the person, but anyway, there was this person who was running for a high-level office, and she said to one of our activists in Iowa, because they asked her, well, why don't you have any women or people of color with you? She says, well, no one has done that at this level. And I think if I had saw Karen or Stacy or Donna or me or Yolanda or Leah, we probably would have dropped our mouths because we had spent 2 decades in Iowa. I mean, starting with Jackson. So I think the visuals are equally as important And, you know, so you get Donna, and then what?
Are we invisible?
I don't think we're invisible. I just think that we are not comfortable with each other in leadership. For some reason, we have been programmed to believe that the men understand how to run a campaign much better than we do. We can go back to 2008 when Hillary was wrestling with whether she should be a woman or whether she should be, you know, a hawk. And so all of that comes from a level of discomfort with yourself. You know, and part of the challenge is when you step into these races, you really do have to know who you are. It doesn't become hard for you to look at Leah and say, I need her to run that convention. Leah had a lot of support, but she had to have others pushing that wagon up too. But now Hillary wouldn't have a problem with it. But, you know, I think in 2008, the challenge was just a little bit different.
That's a good point.
Yeah, so,
That's a good point.
So I think we have, I go back to we have to believe in ourselves. That's what
Also,
Go ahead.
there's because of the thread of sexism that has run through our country's history, the obstacles for us are different. So to Minyon's point, it's a matter of confidence. You know, there's a study that says if you want someone to run for office and you ask a man, you ask him twice and he'll say yes.
Say yes. Absolutely.
You ask a woman, you have to ask her seven
7
times
Yep.
before she says yes.
Yes.
Because part of that is, I think, what is our nature, because we have to consider who's going to walk the dog, who's going to pick up the dry cleaning, what about the kids, who's going, you know, where's the groceries coming from. We think through all of that, the totality of our lives before we make these big choices. Men don't do that for the most part. Men are like, I'll work it out later. You know.
That means the wife is working it out.
Or I don't have to work it out because somebody else is going to work it out. Yeah. So we have this the way that we've been acculturated to think about our whole lives, which I think is a good thing. We have a holistic vision of our lives, but then the ceilings and the glass comes in when it comes to raising the money and having the confidence in ourselves and getting other people in this country to have the confidence in us when we have been trained in this country that women aren't able to compete at the same level. And when I can go all through the history and all of that, England and all of, they had queens 500 years ago who were running armies. Right, so they have that's why I think they've been able to elect women, because that's in their culture, women as leadership. We haven't had that. So we're still getting used to the idea that a woman can be the commander-in-chief. And until we have that mind shift in this country, which I think we have to lead, nobody's going to shift their minds. We have to shift. We have to shift our own minds to say, girl, get out there. Call their names. What has been aggravating to me is since Election Day, when you had Stacey, Andrew, and Beto, who did great jobs but did not, quote, unquote, win. When you start talking about presidential candidates, everybody's talking about Beto. Everybody's talking about Andrew. Nobody's talking about Stacey. When Stacey got more votes than anybody else, including Barack Obama.
In the state of Georgia.
That's on us. So that's for us to then say, why aren't you talking about Stacey? Where is Stacey in the conversation? Because we allow that he keep going, and people are like, oh, Andrew Gillum for president, and I love Andrew Gillum. But if you're going to have that conversation, let's talk about Stacey.
Well, I love him too, but see, Stacey didn't concede, and then have to go back.
Well, okay, before, don't go
I'm
there.
just saying.
Well,
So,
I love him.
good point. Yolanda, say something about it from the perspective of a consultant, unless you were going to say something else.
Well, I was going to say a little something else, but I think the majority of the women,
Closer.
the majority of the women that ran this time, black women and white women, decided on their own that they were going to run. They didn't go to the party and ask for permission. They just decided, I'm going to do this. And they ran brilliant, for the most part. Most of them ran brilliant campaigns, and we've ushered in a new Congress where 40, I think they said most of the majority of them were under 40 years old. This is how you lead. This is how you lead people on, and this is how Nancy's going to bring people up to be in the leadership. We've got to bring in new people. We've got to trust them, and we've got to learn to work together. I love what we saw last week with Nancy. I mean, I think Nancy's a beast. I mean, she just is. She is a badass, and I don't know anybody else that can do what she does. There just isn't anybody else. But she whipped him into shape.
And put her coat and her sunglasses on and left.
Exactly. She's a superhero.
And they said she left her shoe somewhere in the Oval Office. Okay.
Behave. Okay.
All right.
Okay, so you have another 30 seconds because I have another question for you. You have 30 seconds on this one. Yes, I'm limiting you because you're going to take a minute, so go on.
Thank you.
Do you remember the question?
Yes, I remember.
I'm just curious.
I do. That's another issue they talk about. I've been on the road with these women too long. I got to fire them at some point. So the glass ceiling for many of us, and I know some of you in this room, it was not glass, it was cement. We couldn't see through it. We didn't see this day. And yet we have arrived at this moment. And so I'm not giving back my power. That's all I'm telling you. I want my power. I want it. Ambition lies at the heart of American politics. And one of the things I try to teach my students at Georgetown and Howard is that there's nothing wrong with women being filled with ambition. That's right. I say, you gotta want it. You gotta have a passion for it. And don't be ashamed of it. So those are the two things, and I got one more point. Here's my 10 seconds. Can you imagine? Take a look at the Congress when they get sworn in. I mean, come on, I'm from Louisiana, but I knew Daughtry wasn't really, she was make-believe, right? But now Kansas got a congresswoman who is Native American and openly gay. Hell, come on. I mean, I want to start believing in us. I mean, this is what's happening in America today because we are taking our power. Women in 2018 donated more than $180 million to Democratic women running and the Congress. That's $180 million. Now, that's power. And I'm not counting Emily's list.
Good.
I'm saying individual women donors. Y'all some badasses.
And that's true, and we should be proud of that. But we have 123 women coming in this Congress out of 435. So we're not even half yet.
Good.
So we still have work to do. We need some of y'all sitting right here to run for office, to get to the Congress, because that is the only way. We are more than the majority of this country. We are 51% of the electorate, and yet we only have 25% of the Congress. And that's not even talking about the Senate, with its 20 members. So we have much more to do, and we should take this as inspiration to continue to walk down this path.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay. So I want to get personal for a bit. I was directed by someone to be sure I read chapter 24 very carefully. Again, if you haven't read the book or bought the book, buy the book and read the book, because I'm not going to tell you what it says. I'm going to talk to them about it. Remember chapter 24? And in chapter 24, it was described as a rough patch in the friendship. I'll just leave it at that. It was a rough patch. Everybody owned it. Everybody was honest about it. I want to tie that to something that I know I'm asked a lot, and I bet you are too, particularly of young women. We seem to struggle in the workplace sometimes to champion each other. And so I want you to talk about that forgiveness, and that honesty, and that owning that you did in that rough patch, and then talk about how you might take those lessons and help us think about how we do a better job of supporting each other, promoting each other in the workplace. Who wants to take that first? I thought about you, Leah, first, because you're thoughtful.
Okay.
And a saint.
Yeah, okay.
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 Yeah, okay.
I thought I would see what happened. Everybody was there for
right
a minute.
there.
What do you think?
This is something that's important to me because we've come to a place in this country thanks to the internet, where you can go back and find somebody's history and what they did 20 years ago. And we hold candidates, we hold people to this impossibly high standard of perfection. And I don't want anybody going back to find out what I did at Dartmouth, right? That was another time, and we forget that people do and should grow. Good. And change their opinions and change their positions. And if you haven't, something is wrong, because nothing of value grows in stagnant water, right? So if you are the same as you were, then it's problematic. And I think in friendships, that brings for me the issue of forgiveness and the issue of allowing people to make their mistakes and have their faults and have their foibles, because you have some too. And if I want to be forgiven when I screw up, then I need to forgive. If I want to be accepted when I make decisions that other people don't agree with, then I need to offer that. And I think if we did more of that in this country, I'm like, I posted, I'm a big Facebooker and a big tweeter. It's like, y'all wasn't eating organic carrots all your life.
Listen, don't have a favorite show, because Leah gonna weigh in.
I was like, you act like you were always for gay marriage. You weren't. A lot of us had to grow, and now we're there. So please honor my growth and honor the journey that I've taken for you and your veganism.
We don't have that problem.
Because I like ribs, right? But don't judge me because at one point, I ate ribs every day, and now I'm a vegan. I'm not, but I'm just making a point. But let's honor the journey in each other. And I think, the reason we've been able to be friends and stay friends is because we honor the growth and honor the journey. We're not what we were 30 years ago when we met. We're different, we've changed, and we accept the changes and the growth. And that don't mean we don't get on each other's nerves, because Lord have mercy.
Yes, we do.
But we choose not to major in the minors. And you can't die on every hill every day. Some things you just go, oh, okay. And you keep it moving in the name of love, in the name of friendship, in the name of growing and being and supporting each other together.
Good.
That's a beautiful response, Leah. But you asked about chapter 24, and the truth was that we've all discussed this and been through this. Donna wrote a book.
Talking to Mike.
I'm sorry?
Talking to Mike.
Oh, sorry. Donna wrote a book. Y'all know what the book was. We were a little upset about it because we were led to believe that it was something that it turned out to be very different, and we didn't know about it, and we found out about it not through her, but through Politico, I guess it was. It came out the day before. So it put a tremendous strain on the relationship. You know, I think part of it was we probably didn't realize how much pain she was going through. She went through a lot while she served as DNC chair. She had threats and you know, all kinds of craziness happened to her. But we felt betrayed because we've been working on this book for like the last 3 years, and we were promised that this wasn't going to have anything to do with our book, which it didn't, but it caused some embarrassing situations for all of us. So we do this thing when somebody does something that pisses us off and they get off the email trail. So Donna was off the email trail for like 6 months. And we really didn't talk. And then we did this amazing conference at the beginning of the year called Power Rising. And Minyon, who is the soft touch, who Leah says every little broken bird will come to her and she will take them in. She had the soft touch, and she sent Donna an invitation. She said, you know, you really need to be here. So she came, and I happened to run into her. I was going up to meet a client of mine who was checking in, bringing her a glass of champagne, and I looked, and the client, who was also a friend who knew what was going on, is looking like I had seen, and Donna was checking in. So we spoke, and, you know, we hugged and everything. And then, you know, a little later, I think it might have been the next night, we wound up sitting next to each other in the bar, and I said, Donna, I said, yeah, that's what?
Best place to find.
Yeah, well, best place to find both of us. And I wound up sitting next to her, and I said, Donna, I said, we got to work this out. You know, I love you, but I'm not liking you too much right now. Now, I'm going to cook dinner on Tuesday, and everybody's coming over, and we're going to work it out. And that's what we did. I cooked dinner. Well, actually, I ordered from Hill Country. Usually I cook, but I didn't have time, so I ordered from Hill Country. And we sat there until we talked it out, and we compromised. So there were some things that she didn't like and some things that we didn't like in the chapter, and we put Leah and Donna together, Leah being the most diplomatic, and they came up, you know, they rewrote the chapter and it came up, and we just felt we couldn't write the book, in all honesty, if we're talking about friendship for 30 years, and everybody who knows us knows what happened, and we couldn't write the book without addressing it. So that's where that chapter came.
But I actually want to go to the heart of your question, how we support each other. And while that was tumultuous, and Donna, you know, I always feel like we defend her right to write whatever she wants, because she is one of the few authors we have in our community that her voice echoes. Yes. And I think the little part that was left out, it wasn't that Donna wrote the book. I think we were all in so much pain because Hillary had lost, until it all just got garbled up with each other, especially when she, you know, and anyway, fast forward. But I think the real thing about us is we have all held very high-level positions. And it doesn't matter who's up, who's down, who's in, who's out. We believe that that's a rallying call for us to support each other because we're so few in that position. You know, Karen laughs about us smoking. I don't know why she would tell anyone that, because that's just filthy stuff.
Leah said we've all grown. We've all done a lot of things that we
But,
wouldn't
you
be proud
know,
of.
truthfully, you know, and you know, she says I supported her. Truth is, we supported each other. And I think because we were so close, anytime you get in the White House, you have to have some allies. You never get in that place and think, if you're the only one, what's your only one strategy, Donna? If you won, you're a token, you can talk. We love Donna. No, this is good.
If you're one, you notice I'm listening to them. Mm-hmm. If you're the one woman or the one person of color in the room, or even the one man, yeah, you're a token. Mm-hmm. 2 is window dressing. Finally, somebody else who's different, right? Mm-hmm. 3 is when you begin. 3 or more is when you really begin to accept and embrace a culture of inclusion. And this is something all of us have to pay attention to. That's good. It's like cooking gumbo with no roux. It's soup.
Yeah, but the real point is, and you know, I can look at Stacey, I can look at a number of women in this room. We had to really have each other's back. We had never been to the White House. We didn't know what it was like working at the White House. All we knew was every time we went in a room, it was going to be 7 men that we would have to battle for our position. So we knew that if Stacey called, if Karen called, or if anyone called, we knew whether they were right or wrong. Oh, I agree with them. Why not? Oh, shoot, Karen should be on that trip. Why is she not on that trip? I mean, and that's just the position we
had. And
then
you come out and go, now, girl, tell me what you meant by that.
Right. Why you say that dumb stuff?
What you trying to get done?
Right. But you know what? You just saw no light of day. And I think that because we've gotten to a culture of titles and all of this, you know, you think that when you are at the table by yourself and you are the big puma, it means nothing. What means something is when you're at the table and you see somebody that should be at the table and they're talking about them, or they might be talking about Asians, they might be talking about the gay and lesbian community, they might be talking about the disabled community, and you don't look up and say, you know what, I think we need to expand this table.
Good. Good.
That's what you need to do.
Good.
Now, we often say, now, if you're sitting at a table and ain't got nothing to say, please get up. Because we don't have, I mean, we really need your voice at that table.
Can I get my 30 seconds? 20.
Now, she had 20 of mine. So.
Thank you so much. Wait a minute, that's more?
No, I said you had 20 of mine because I asked you. It was
But
a
you
point of
gotta talk.
personal
Go
privilege.
on and talk. 3 minutes.
Okay. No, but no, that was good. I'm trying to give you.
You got it.
So,
Come on.
Chapter 24 is great, but you know, if you ask me, chapter 1 is the best. It's called, we entitled the first chapter, A Call to Serve. The thing that makes us friends, the threads, and really what we ultimately believe is our value system. We have the same value system.
That's right.
Seriously. And that's what make us what I call friends and warriors. We fight. And not just for each other, which we will do, and we fiercely fight for each other, but we have fought for all of you. In some way, we have fought.
So we have,
And I'll say one last thing about hacks, because I defend, thank you for letting me write, because God knows, I mean, outside of fornicating and smoking and drinking, writing is my only other sin. So I'm glad. Hey, yeah, you want to see somebody who can do it all.
You off subject. You off subject.
All right, but let me tell you something. Let me just say this. I'm gonna say this. I gotta say this because everyone in this room now is learning information and facts that many of us knew in 2016 and 2017, but nobody believed us. No one believed what was happening to this country, that we had someone who was committing, or some group of individuals committing treason, working with a foreign adversary to attack our country, to attack our nominee in the Democratic Party, and to attack the democracy itself. So for me, I don't care what the media said and everybody else said, I mean, for being called everything but the child of God throughout this process, watching as they use every shred of stolen hack emails to weaponize to hurt Hillary and the Democratic Party and the country, I tell you, we all need to be mindful of what's going on right now. Because this is why this period is happening. We're seeing now the truth. And by the way, y'all gonna see a lot more. What y'all are seeing now, can I tell you something? It's only half of what some of us still know, because we're under still FBI, whatever, saying we can't talk about it. So let it unfold. Let Mr. Mueller finish, and I'll be going to see Nancy.
okay, so I want you to start to get your thoughts together about questions. I'm going to do what I call the lightning round, so I can get through some things quickly, because I really do want to hear your opinion on a couple things. So hold your mics up. Even you. That's my girl. Yes or no? Will there be a woman president in our lifetime?
Yes.
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 Will she be a Democrat or a Republican?
Democrat.
I'd say Democrat.
Condi's not running.
Democrat.
Probably Democrat.
Okay. You did notice that they hesitated, everybody, but Donna.
I didn't.
Nikki Haley won't run, so there's no one else in the Republican pipeline. I'm just saying. Sarah
Okay.
Palin is not available.
Who's not available?
Palin. So it's going to be a Democrat.
But like Palin, they can always come up with somebody.
True that, true that, true that.
Okay. You have been described in articles and profiles this way. Yolanda, quiet.
Bullshit.
It's true.
I have not asked the question yet, Donna. Leah, private.
True.
Now this surprises me. Minyon, shy. How would you three describe Donna?
I've been described as being bold.
Donna. She asked
Let me repeat the question. How would you three describe her?
I'm giving them answers. The bold and the beautiful, the young and the restless. Searching for tomorrow with one life to
Becky with the
live.
good hair.
Let's see.
Audacious.
Actress. I'm still becoming too.
Donna.
Hell.
Let me repeat the question.
Yes.
How would the three of you describe Donna in one word?
Bold.
I would say she's complicated.
Complicated.
I said complicated, not constipated. I said
Last person could ever be full of shit is me.
Different time of day. You are still thinking. Have you got a word?
She's consulting the Bible.
No, she's praying, and she should be.
I
Okay.
think I'm more like Esther in the Bible, Leah.
Oh, Lord
has-
Jesus, help me.
Maybe Deborah.
Donna, she has a word.
Help me, Lord Jesus, help me.
Yes.
I
Married
said-
too. I don't know if I could have
Donna,
given
I'm
birth.
going to come over there and take your microphone.
Oh,
Okay, give me your word, darling.
I would just say complex.
Complex.
Donna is the
Special?
one that I don't understand. Like, most of the time, I don't understand what she's talking about.
See, I totally get her.
I do too, honestly.
From the beginning. Okay, I
mean,
got
I'm
a
trying,
lightning round. I have
trying.
1 minute. I have 1 minute. Okay. Yolanda, you talk about demanding a salary and a reporting relationship in the Stepping Forward chapter. You didn't get the title, but you asked for the rest. Why'd you do that?
The convention?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Stepping Forward chapter.
Yeah, well, I thought I was going to get a job. It was the 90, what was it, 2000. Yeah, it was Terry's convention, 2000 convention. And I had interviewed for CEO of the convention and had been to everyone, including President Clinton's chief of staff had signed off on it, and he said we want to do an announcement soon. Then I went from there to meet with Gore, Vice President Gore, at his residence. And we met, and then everything was fine. I walked out the door, and when I walked out to get my car, I walked past Tony Coelho, who had just come in, they just brought in to be chair of the campaign, right? Yeah. Chair of the campaign. So I didn't hear anything from anybody for like 2 weeks. I said, okay, something's going on. You always know something's going on when you don't hear from somebody. So I called our friend Tina and asked her what was going on, and she kind of told me. Apparently, Tony put a stop to it because we were going to California, and he felt that they should have a Hispanic woman running the convention. So I called Joe Andrew, who was the chair, and my friend and my advocate at the time, and he said, yeah, we really still want you to be involved in this. I said, you mean you want me to clean up? And so, well, he said, and he was trying to be diplomatic about it, and I said, okay, well, let's put it this way. I will come in, I will be your senior advisor, I will not report to anybody but you. I'll work on the project that you need me to work on, and you're going to pay me $200,000. And he said, gee, that's more than the CEO is going to be making. And I said, well, it should be, because I have more experience in here, and I should have had the job. And you all messed up. I said it in a different word, but you all messed up, and when you mess up, it costs you. Yeah. So you're going to pay me this money.
The moral of that story is ask.
That's right, ask. Don't be
Right?
All they can say is no.
The worst they can say is no. Okay, Minyon. Yes. You are known for your sense of style.
I am.
And I can tell. What does the power suit for 2020 look like?
Oh, that's a really good question. Ooh, let me look around this audience and see if I see it. You know, I really don't know, but for me, see, I came out of corporate America very young. Mm-hmm. And so part of my challenge was that as a young person in corporate America, we kind of button up. But when I entered into politics, I also felt like I needed to button up a little bit because I wanted for people to understand that I was learning, but I also knew something, so I didn't want any distractions. So I dressed very conservatively, and I always have, and probably always will. I try to keep up with Leah a little bit, because she can be really, with the shoes and all that, she can be really stylish. Mm-hmm. But this is me, and I'm happy for it. And I say to young girls all the time, because we have a group of mentors in Washington, and we look up on Instagram, and they got some clothes on, no clothes on, and we be like, mm-mm.
Who's going to call and say,
Yeah, cover it up.
Yeah, and I think we're still at a place where appearance is very important, and you don't want your appearance to overshadow what you can do.
Well said.
Yeah.
Leah, each of you had strong present fathers, each one of you, as did I. How has that influenced who you are?
I'm a daddy's girl. I'm my father's firstborn, my father and my mother's firstborn. And he made it clear to me, my sisters, my brother's the youngest, that we could do whatever we wanted to do. He took me everywhere with him, and he's an activist pastor. He was the chair of the National Black United Front. I'm a fifth generation pastor, so he was a pastor himself. And so he was always in these different settings. So wherever he went, whether it was to the UN, I went with him. I might have been 7, but he was going to meet with ambassadors. I went with him. He was in his Greek classes. I learned the Greek alphabet with him. He took me to school every day, and he was a full-time pastor, and he would come to school every day and stand in the back of my classroom, checking on the teacher, not checking on me. He was my fiercest advocate. And so I didn't grow up with the idea that my being female had anything to do with what I was able to accomplish, because that's not how it was in Herbert Daughtry's household. All you had to do, get your books, and that was it. That was your job. Get your books, and whatever your chore was, clean the bathroom, clean the kitchen, whatever. That was your job. His job was to provide the means for you to do that. And that's all he required. And he's like, go where you want to go, do what you want to do. There are no ceilings on you. And in our household, we were all beautiful. I didn't understand about a paper bag test till I got to college, because we didn't do that. We didn't have dolls with straight hair because our hair wasn't straight. So all of those, the books, we didn't read fairy tales because there were no black people in them. So everything he did reinforced for me and for us our own beauty, our own intelligence, which was far more important than beauty for him, and our own sense of self that allowed me to go into the world confidently and to understand what it was. And you know, some people won't like this line, what a man looked like. What a man looked like. And that's how I understood what relationships look like, and the men in my community. So I wasn't prepared for knuckleheads, because I hadn't seen knuckleheads.
She wasn't prepared for the man that asked her to move to Chicago to do a shrimp truck. I was the CEO of the 2008 convention, and I was dating a wonderful gentleman who I've been dating for a while. He decided that he was ready to be married, so he called me one day, 2 weeks before the convention, which is like crazy time. And we're talking to him, and he said, I decided that when you're done with the convention, that I want you to move to Chicago, and I'm gonna buy a shrimp truck. And we're gonna have a shrimp truck on Michigan Avenue. And I was like, excuse me. I'm thinking invest in the shrimp truck. He said no, because we're gonna fry the shrimp. And I was like, okay, I gotta go because Senator Kennedy's doctor is on the phone. I was like, what, a shrimp truck? But
you are
a visionary. All those shrimp trucks out there now.
Reverend Daughtry's daughter does not do shrimp trucks.
I mean, I can cook. I'll fry some shrimp. But I was like, but you call, huh? So, I was not prepared for knuckleheads. I was not prepared for men who challenged your intelligence, who challenged your career, who challenged your confidence, because I didn't grow up with that. My father did not let us be exposed to that. And if anybody in the church looked like they was a knucklehead, anybody in the community, you was steered away, because that was not who he wanted you to be exposed to. And it just made me move into the world.
In the way that you moved?
In the way that I moved, very confidently, because my father told me I could be.
I thought it was wonderful that you called it out for the 4 of you. Okay, I'm giving you the last question. It's the question that's on everyone's mind. What's up with the new look? And don't give me the answer you gave on Wendy Williams, girl. And then let's get some questions from everybody out there, okay?
Let's get some questions from everyone out here.
You want to do microphones? Go on and stand up. I'll repeat it. Stand up.
2 questions.
You only get one.
You're sounding like Donald Trump. Let her have a
She did it.
follow-up.
Oh, no, you did. Oh, no, you
I'm
didn't.
giving her my 20 seconds.
Go on, you got it. Go.
So first thing, I went to North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University, where we are focused on our Greensboro 4 that started the revolution of college sit-ins. Now with the situation of redistricting in the state of North Carolina, I don't find that women who look like us are involved in those processes. Where do you see space in that area, whether it's North Carolina, California? What does that look like? Because I know we have some other states too that elected a great body of local electeds, but their federal, their Congress people were all Republicans. So where do you see that? And can I squeeze in my second question real quick?
Hurry up. Come on.
How does it feel to date in this space when you are dealing with men who might not understand our jobs and how interesting they can be and busy? And what does that look like? Men or women, sorry. But how does that look for you?
Who wants to take the redistricting?
Well,
So to be fair, we'll have you
first of
do
all, I mean, some states have independent commissions. Some states, because of the redistricting project, we're going through litigation. But most states, as you well know, it is totally electoral politics with the governor's office. And so in North Carolina, you have, North Carolina is going through so many redistricting battles and changes. I would get deeply involved because you have a Democratic governor, Governor Cooper. I would get involved in the project that Reverend Barbara is leading. I would get involved in Eric Holder project. When I see you afterwards, I'll write all of this down so I don't hold up anybody's time.
And how about dating? Who wants to take that one?
Well, it's
I don't even know how to relate to that
yeah.
because
It's actually very difficult. And then if you got women like these girls, if they do you wrong and you happen to tell that to them, that brings on a whole nother situation. But, you know, in the book we talk about Panks, professional aunts with no kids. And, you know, you've seen this big debate, whether it's lean in or becoming. And the truth of the matter is, I really don't think, it's probably, well, I won't disrespect certainly Mrs. Obama or Sandberg. But the truth is, it is difficult on any given day for a woman to give all of herself to everything. And I think for us, when we came through politics, trying to date was admirable, and we wanted to date, but it wasn't until it's not until you can step back out of some of these high-pressure spaces that you can give the time, because if they're not in politics, that really does complicate things, because you got to over-explain to them why you're walking in the door at 12 a.m., not 12 p.m., and you got to over-explain why you're on the road all the time. And they shouldn't you know, I had to come to this. A man should not, and for me, a man should not have to understand why I don't have time, because that is a choice. If I'm going to be in a relationship, I should provide an equal partnership. And most of the time, especially when I think we were coming through, we were devoted to our careers, and it just didn't allow enough, it's personal for me to really devote, because I didn't have the emotional energy to put into it.
Anybody else want to comment on that one, or you want to keep going?
I think it's tough, and because we do more than politics. You have to be with someone who can pivot into all of your worlds. So for me, you gotta be able to do the White House and go to church and go to the hood at home and hang out at the family dinner. That's a rare combo.
He's got to be trilingual.
Yes.
Trilingual.
Because I can't have you standing at the back of the church and can't clap on the beat. It's a problem.
I can clap.
Or you can do that, but then you at the White House and don't understand the cocktail reception. It's a problem. So trying to have somebody who can navigate all the parts of your life, which is what we are as women, becomes a challenge. It's complex.
That guy in that shrimp truck, man, I tell you, Leah, you left him on the corner of Michigan Avenue in a cold weather, and he's probably a multi-millionaire now.
No, he's not.
Oh, no, he's not?
No, we're not.
Wait, We were just in
But
Chicago.
if he was, I might have thought about it twice.
Oh, Lord.
We were in Chicago. Wait, before she goes, we were in Chicago, and all while we were going up and down Michigan Avenue, I kept trying to envision where Leah would be. I did, and I was looking at Saks Fifth Avenue. Would she be there, or would she be by Neiman?
I'll be calling y'all up. Meet me at the shrimp truck.
Oh my God. I will never forget the shrimp truck man. Okay, we got one here in the middle. Go as loud as you can, and then we'll go over here.
Okay, my name's Donna Brazile, but I'm a retired Army nurse. I retired from the reserve. And it's been on the news that President Trump has not gone over to visit the troops. I have friends who are deployed, and it's a constant thing. Do you feel that he has not gone over to visit the troops, even though the President of the United States is the commander-in-chief? Do you feel he has not gone because he cannot relate to people who serve, people who have been called to serve? I mean, as a child, my father and his brothers all served. Me and all my sisters have served. I have several cousins who have retired from the military, different services. Do you feel he has not gone because he can't relate to that? It's not relatable to him, even though that's a part of his role.
Wasn't his
He will go.
wasn't his response that he didn't go because he was afraid somebody was going to kill him? Yeah,
It was something along those lines.
Yeah, yeah. I don't
Here's,
think he has enough substance to figure out the rest.
as a daughter of a veteran, thank you for your service. Thank you. You know, there are so many ways to communicate with our men and women in uniform. Being present and being there is very helpful, but also think keeping the government running. I know that defense is the defense appropriation, but we want to make sure that those who are also protecting our borders and our airports and other security, that's Homeland Security. I hope they get paid too. And that's the bill that's coming up in eight days. The other way is that we can communicate now over the internet. I mean, we got all of these FaceTimes and other times, Skype. I mean, and as you all know, in addition to the president, you have, of course, the vice president, the defense secretary, many, many others. And I do believe that at a time when they are overseas, away from home, we should pay tribute to them and send them. I always, at both the Clinton and Obama White House, I can't speak for the other ones, we had cards that we used to fill out to send to the men and women overseas. And if you know someone, we should send a note or a card or just say we're thinking of you. That goes a long way. So thank you for your question and your service.
Since there's several of us that have saw what it's like to have a commander-in-chief, I think that to your question, first of all, you have to see yourself as a commander-in-chief. And I think those visits are critical because when you commit your life, I dated a Marine for he served this country for 25 years. So I understand the importance of making sure we give back, but the commander-in-chief has an obligation to be present. And if he is not present, it leads to that question. And so hopefully he will see himself visiting our troops. You know how they go in now, you don't never know when they're going to go there.
True.
So maybe at Christmas time we'll look up after we finish opening our presents. Oh, there's Trump! And he'll be in Afghanistan somewhere, we pray.
Maybe. All right, we have someone in the back on the right. Yeah, Kim. Thoughts on Kamala Harris?
She got her seat back on judiciary. She's an incredible, inspirational leader. And as you know, over the holidays, she's indicated that she's going to give it some thoughts. And let's just pray that she makes up her mind and she put herself into action. That's all I'm going to say. I can't endorse anybody right now. I want to stay relevant for a while and have people court me. I'm sorry. At my age now, I don't want to give it up before I get something. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And you asked that about what you wanted, when you need it, and how you want to get it. I want it all the time for anybody who can give it up, and I want to get something. Okay?
Thank you, Donna. Thank you very much.
You know, I've been looking at these
FYI.
women's faces right here. Let me just tell you, some of this is black language going on up here, so if you think you're not understanding, don't worry about it.
But you haven't gotten anything lately, something is wrong.
Okay, Donna.
Get
Donna.
something for the holidays.
Donna. Okay, I want to get to a couple of the young people in the room. There are a lot of seasoned folks, but we got some young people here.
I
Come
wouldn't
over
give
here.
nobody a gift unless I got one.
I'm gonna sit on her lap in a minute. Go on, dear. Stand up, sweetie. Tell us your name. Lisa.
And I was wondering, as a woman and a person of color, there's so many times in my life where I've been disregarded just because I'm speaking and my authority has been questioned. If I don't know, if I had $1 for every single time that happened, maybe people would listen to me more because I'm pretty rich. How do y'all handle that? Because you continue to climb and be what we aspire to be. How does it handle, I'm sure, much worse in your lifetime, just being disregarded because of who you are?
It's a good question, Lucy, and it was actually one of the ones on my list, and I wanted you to kind of go back and think back to one of those moments. So please, great question.
Well, first of all, sweetheart, no one can disregard you, ever. And no matter what you believe they think of what you're saying, you have to have the convictions when you stand up or when you are talking in a meeting. You must believe that what you are saying has purpose. And if they don't, but I will say this, and we were laughing about this earlier when we were in San Francisco. Part of the challenge with us as women, when we go into these rooms, we're either solo or we have to make sure before we go into a room, if you have a point that you're trying to drive in a room, it's like we were just saying. You know, Karen and I would be in a meeting and swear to God, we weren't agreeing. We were not agreeing on everything. But if Karen opened her mouth and said something in that meeting, then I was going to agree with her. But you know what? Karen would come and give me a heads up and say, listen, I am going to present this. And I think what you have to do, and you have to grow to this, before you go in the meeting, if there are a few allies that you have, make sure you go to them and say, listen, I want to present this and I need your support. What do you think about it? And then maybe they might help you think through how you should present it. But please, whatever you do, have the confidence to know that you are as good as you should be and you will get better. But don't ever feel like your opinion is disregarded, because you just don't even look like your opinion is disregarded.
Good. I have another young lady here. Tell us who you are.
Hi, my name's Rhiannon Ripley. My question kind of a little similar to Lucy's. My personal glass ceiling or cement ceiling has been connected to my mental health. For myself, I don't see and I don't know if there are people who struggle with the same struggles as I do. So I was curious, especially as women and women of color, I know that within the community of color, mental health and just health in general is disregarded often. How do we center ourselves and bring ourselves back to taking care of ourselves while maybe not exactly seeing ourselves in spaces of leadership and of power?
Brave question.
So, first, you have to understand that if you're a person that's having mental health, there's somebody else in the room with the same challenge. I battled depression. I was diagnosed, and all of that, I battled depression. I had to decide that taking care of my mental health, and we've never even talked about this, first time I've talked about it publicly, that taking care of my health and my mental health was paramount to me doing a good job. So for me, that means that I have moments when I drop out, where I go take my walks on the water, where I go talk to somebody so that I can be whole. That's what's necessary for me in order to feel whole and to be everything that I know that I can be, that I'm called to be, and to do the excellent job that I know I can do. I also recognize the signs. When I know I'm getting ready to veer, I'm starting to veer, and I'm starting to get, you know, you get this, when you're getting ready to go left, it's like, okay, I need to stop. I need to go on vacation. I need to go sit by the water. I need to go home and see my nephews and play with my nephews. I need to, whatever it is I need, I've learned myself well enough to know this is the sign and I need to go deal with it, because if I don't stop and deal with it, then I'm not going to be successful in what I'm trying to do. And I know I'm the best at what I do. I'm clear on that. I've got the confidence, I understand that, but I know that I have this challenge that I have learned over these 55 years to deal with and to recognize and to make taking care of myself paramount. But I'm also clear that when I'm sitting at the table, somebody else is battling depression too. Somebody else is battling bipolarism. Somebody else is battling it. Although we don't all talk about it, somebody else is in the room, so I don't feel like I'm the only one, and oh my goodness, it's a big, gigantic thing that only me, we can get into only me-ism. And then that just makes the challenge that you're having deeper and more profound when you think that there's no one like you in the room.
So we've got, thank you. Thank you for your bravery, and thank you for your candor.
Are we done? I had something to
Apparently
say.
not. Come on.
I don't think there's anybody in this room who has fallen down more than I have fallen down. I don't know if there's anybody in this room who's gotten fired on national TV. I don't know if anybody has been humiliated on national TV. I don't know anybody who has seen so much rough waters. I've seen it all. I one day woke up and didn't know where any of my family, I couldn't find them.
Oh, yeah.
There was a storm that took them away from me, and I just about lost my mind. And then when I found them, and they only had what they could take, and they had nowhere to go, I had to rely on my friends. I was stripped of all humility. I was just gone. But through the grace of God and faith and family and friends, and many of you in this room who dug into your purses, your pocketbooks, your wallet, wrote checks, my hometown now looked like it is going to be the Las Vegas on the Gulf. And so I know we all go through different things in life. You know, when we talk about chapter 24, and I say I prefer chapter 1, because had we not been called to serve, we never would have met each other. So as you all prepare for the holidays and prepare to go wherever you might go and be with whoever you're going to be, just remember that you got so much to give. And the world's going to depend on you. And the world's going to need all of you women. And some of you men. And remember, our message to men is that we're not asking you to leave the room. Just scoot over and make room for us. Thank you.
I'm very, very, very proud of you. But you already know that. You know I love you more than life. So we're going to close. We've been given the high sign. I think you're going to hang around and press the flesh a little bit. So we are drink some wine. We're very grateful for that. I have to say this because this is something we talked about. We had a lot of fun. And first of all, nobody has had more fun than I have this last hour. This has just been delightful. So thank you so much, first and foremost. Thank you, Donna, for behaving. Thank you for your candor. Thank you for your sincerity. But we talked about this. These are serious times. And we're in a state that still has the highest poverty rate in the nation. Homelessness is spiked. We've got education and income disparities in this state. We have a lot to be done. And so I thought I might ask you to close on a serious note with me and just give me one sentence on what each of us, Donna touched on it, that's why I'm proud of you. But give us one thing, give us sort of a, you know, how your dad would give the, well, you too, how you would give the last word of on the way out of the service. Go forth and do what? What do you want us to go forth and do? You're starting.
I want you to go forth, be brave. Confidence is a decision. Decide. Decide to be confident. decide to be brave, decide to be bold, and pursue what you're called to do.
You know, Dr. Maya Angelou was all of our mentors, and one of the things that she said, especially for women, is that you have to have courage. And so sometimes we don't have courage, but you can summon that inner self, and it's either anchored in faith or whatever. But, you know, most of what we do is public service, and we see that as a rare gift God has given us. So if you have a chance to serve, and you serve with your heart, you will have the most glorious time because you are touching somebody's life. It doesn't have to be politics. Let it be something, though, where you can say you have given back and you have paid it forward and you have swung the door wide open because you have been blessed.
I would like to see us all be kinder and more empathetic. And to reach out to people that you wouldn't ordinarily even have a conversation with and try to understand what they're going through. You know, everybody's going through something. We're going through a craziness in the world right now that I think has everyone scared to death. But I think unless we become kinder people, you know, I don't know what's going to happen to us. I mean, I look at what's going on every day and it just breaks my heart. So I think we have to try, we all have to try to be much better with each other.
I want us to all believe that we can build the bank of justice. We can give back. When Cassandra said that this state has the largest poverty rate, how many of you have been in your pantry lately? There's stuff there that needs to go to the food bank. How many of you have been in your closet lately? There are coats and shoes and pants that you will never get back in.
I know I won't.
Those toys that your children left when they went to school, you can give them to someone who will not have a toy. The simple things that you can do can be the difference between whether or not a child have a good holiday, a mother have something to cook, a father can bring a coat home. It doesn't cost you much to just think of yourselves as someone who can make a difference right now. I say that because that's what I relied on as a child. I relied on the kindness of others. You made a way for a girl like me to grow up. Those shoes, those coats, those hand-me-downs, those beans, Jiffy cornbread. I know. Best cornbread dressing in America, if you know what I'm saying.
And it's easy.
But you see what you did when you gave me hope? You see what hope looks like?
Well, now.
This is hope. You believe that. And we can be the hope. Now, my sisters, it is now gone on 10:30 East Coast time. I have not drank any wine today. I love y'all. But if after this performance I can't get my throat wet,
We're
I'm
going
going
to
to lose hope.
We're going to retire. On that note, and for Donna's throat, thank you all for being here, and thank you, ladies.